absolute power. We own you. You are mere shells of humanity, hanging on to the empty notion of hope. Hope for a savior. Hope that someone or something will take away the pain that is your pathetic lives. Well, hope gets pulverized at the hands of reality. And tonight will be no different. Because after tonight, all hope will be gone.
Wrestlemania now in the rearview mirror, and we are here to give our take. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fred, and I am being joined by my spectacular co-host, Mr. Che.
Oh, this was like, what, 6 hours?
This was
God.
This was something that we'll never get back. You know, we're back. We're here. A big event. You know, something that finally caught our attention. To be honest with you, we've been largely uninterested in the product. I almost missed the entire build-up to WrestleMania.
Same. Sometimes I catch those 2 to like 5-minute clips on the WWE channel, but other than that, 3 hours, especially with the way things are going right now, it's just a chore to go through.
So we had to check out WrestleMania. It's almost like it's like the Super Bowl. It's like the World Series. If you catch one game, you catch that one. And as such, we put the network to the test. Maybe. So here we are. Let's get into this. I mean, there's not much housekeeping we need to do here. Let's start it off. Let's kick it off with the kickoff show. We started with Kalisto, the champion, defending the U.S. title against Ryback. Che, the build-up, all this stuff, almost non-existent. What did you think about the actual match, though?
I thought it was all right, but there was something that was different. The ending to this and who won definitely shocked me, because you know how they are with the little guy. Even with the U.S. champion, they, you know, like they had said, they had John Cena hold it for a while and do that little Champions Challenge. So I have to say, the match was all right. I enjoy Kalisto a hell of a lot more than Ryback, because I mean, the big man thing, it gets old after a while, but I'm surprised Kalisto won. I really thought they were going to give it to Ryback, but at the end of the day, it's really not going to do anything. I mean, Ryback doesn't even have much of a push. He's buried. He's been buried for like the past couple of years. And, you know, Kalisto, he's teaming up with Sin Cara and stuff. It's just, if they tried to do this to build up Sin Cara with the champion, that helps, but who he won it against was just, no one's going to remember it.
While we've been gone, Ryback has undergone a little bit of a transformation, a little bit of a repackaging, I guess you would say. He used to come out with the Rob Van Dam style singlet, right, with the airbrushing, to which he actually said in an interview that this was his deal. Like, he wanted to do the airbrush thing, and that was his idea, and he took it out to somebody to airbrush it and shit like that, and he actually called RVD beforehand to get his blessing to do it and stuff. So this was Ryback's, you know, personality coming through in these singlets, and he decided one day at a house show he's gonna switch it up. Plain black trunks like Goldberg. The Goldberg chants were already building. This was already something that was building momentum, but you know, comes out plain black trunks, gets Goldberged out of the fucking building, and here he is now with, like, you know, the Ryback logos always look like a Robin logo anyway, but you know, coming out with the trunks, finally exposing that steroided body.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think he's a little bit too big to be like, because you know Goldberg, you know, they built him because Goldberg was a fan, I believe, of, I think he does kickboxing to this day.
Yep.
But he was a fan of the MMA, so they if they're trying to build Goldberg as like this wannabe MMA fighter, he's just too fucking big for it. I can't buy it. He's more like the bodybuilder type, just press slam you all day.
And I mean, he kind of is packaged like Goldberg when you think about it. I mean, he's got the gloves, right? He's got the trunks now. You know, bald, a little bit of a beard. So, but you know, much to the WWE's credit, they didn't go the Goldberg route with him. They didn't make him this unbeatable streak and stuff like that. You see him here in this match, and he's there to essentially give credibility to Kalisto's title run. I have to admit, all right, now Kalisto's a great wrestler. He's done a lot of great things with the Lucha Dragons, but as a singles competitor, to me, it just seemed weird. He seemed like a transitional champion, and it seems as though they are going with him. So they have to do things to build him, to make him look credible, to make him stand out as a singles competitor. And I think that that's what the goal in this match was.
Well, hopefully we'll see if it works out. I am happy that he won it, though. I would rather have him than Ryback because Ryback's time has passed. Unfortunately, they didn't do anything with him when he had his chance, and he's just there as an enhancement talent now.
Absolutely. Mid-card to the core. I mean, that's John Cena was there to sort of build the U.S. title. He, for all intents and purposes, did a really good job at that. But now, you don't have a guy like Cena carrying that title. It's now a mid-card signifier, So, as far as the match goes, like we said, sort of the standard David versus Goliath match. They start off with the stare-off, and Kalisto wants to create some separation, but Ryback is there, holding his ground and wants to do some power spots. Kalisto sort of using the finesse, the speed, the high flying. It was a good styles matchup, I guess you could say. But all in all, a forgettable match, buried as the first match on the prelims, the kickoff show. And, a little bit of an empty crowd. They weren't really feeling it. They weren't there yet.
Yeah, because they had an issue. I believe I heard this on a couple of podcasts. They had an issue with scanning and the Wi-Fi, so people weren't even there for like the first hour or two.
And not only that, but there were only 2 entrances into the actual into the crowd. So instead of having multiple entrances for people to siphon in, they can only come through 2 entrances.
That's ridiculous. For a stadium as big as that was just very stupid.
Yep. I mean, obviously, you do something that grand to scale, you're going to have problems, especially when you don't do it all the time. But yeah, it is a bit surprising to see that they had those kind of issues when this is a billion-dollar company. Mm-hmm. They've done WrestleMania 31. They did the what was that, the Orange Bowl in Florida? So they've done things like this before. It's a little bit disappointing that they would have these problems, but as we'll document a little bit later on, they were definitely probably having some bomb threats called in on them.
That's not the only fucking problem.
But yeah, as far as this match, I mean, I feel like we're already spending too much time on it. Goes for a couple false finishes, some near falls, finishes this up with the Salida del Sol, and you've got it. A bit of a spot there with the exposed turnbuckle, a bit of a callback to the old. You don't really see that too much, but it is what it is. Kalisto retains with his finisher, and hopefully this propels him forward. But as we'll maybe talk about on SmackDown, not too we'll cover it. SmackDown, he loses a tag team match and gets pinned, so maybe not a good maybe not a good day for the mid card. Yeah. All right, a total blur, except for a couple of, we'll say ensembles. Second match of the night, still on the kickoff show. Team Total Divas, consisting of Brie Bella, Paige, Eva Marie, the Heat Magnet, Alicia Fox, Natalya, versus Team Bad and Blonde, Lana, Naomi, Tamina, Summer Rae, and Emma. I'll start us off. Boy, oh boy. So, obviously, some eye candy in this matchup, right? Mm-hmm. Can't complain too much. I'm sure, buddy, you would appreciate the lovely Lana coming in with a delectable one-piece.
That's the best thing about that match. Everything else is forgettable. That was the best thing about it. Now,
obviously, I feel like this was just meant to sort of tie into the Total Divas show. Yeah. They did a I really can't believe that there are very, very few Divas matches that are not segmented by like some commercial break. Like, they can't show just a fucking Divas match in its entirety. Sorry, a women's match, as we'll get to. I mean, this seemed as a vehicle to promote Total Divas and whatever, right?
That's all it is.
The fans had their popcorn match. They got to do some catcalls and whistling. But to put these females in this match, it makes some very legitimate competitors like Paige, who comes from, a family of wrestlers, and she's often been, improving on her craft. Natalia, obviously, one of the best technicians, someone that really, is backstage, helping out, putting things together. I mean, Natalia, for all intents and purposes, carried this match, kept things together, put it together. And even Naomi, I would say, is working on her craft and stuff like that. But then you have these people around them that are just sort of, to put in Eva Marie, Lana, who's not a legitimate competitor in any sense of the word.
It's just a reality show.
Yeah.
That's all. They're just trying to really bank on this. I guess they're trying to make up for the ratings that are on Raw and SmackDown by going to another network and trying to get big ratings there. They're trying to be like a multimedia instead of just focusing on the damn Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views.
Now, something that was interesting to see, before we went on air, I kind of made the comparison between Lana and Stacy Keibler, and it does sort of seem that way. Like, Lana just sort of comes in, does a very limited amount of offense, some like spinning kicks, some, stuff like that, and then tags out immediately. Like, she makes no bones about the fact that she is not matched with these women in the same capacity, the same offensive capacity, and that she is quite fragile. If she were to be hit with a finisher or something like that, it would for sure be, a pinfall. But just there to kind of, I don't know, just there for the guys' enjoyment, I guess. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Vince, thank you, Stephanie, Triple A, whoever's idea was to put this together. Thank you for that, I guess.
No. We will not be thanking Stephanie for the shit that she pulled, but we'll tell you later.
But, I mean, a waste of time, of course. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some old catchphrases I used to say about this. Oh, terrible match. But, I mean, just a waste of time. Your winner here, as should have been. I mean, Total Divas, it makes sense. You've got legitimate people like Brie Bella, Paige, Natalia. I think it could have been 3-on-5 and they still would have got the same result. But, yeah, there is your, there's your Divas popcorn match. So, any thoughts on that? Any last thoughts on that, Jay, before we move on?
I hope that's Lana's permanent attire. That was the best thing about the match, but forgettable.
So, right after this, right after you just have a mockery of the entire quote-unquote Divas division, Lita comes out. And,
now let's make it legitimate.
Now let's fucking hit undo on what we just did.
Yeah.
Let's fucking... You just took Divas back 10 years. Let's try to fucking bring them back up to speed. Lita comes out, and, compared to the other Divas, Lita has aged fairly well. I as a younger lad, was very much into Lita, but... Whatever. That's here or there. That's neither here nor there. We've got Lita out there. She's got a table with a cloth over it, and there were already rumors circulating online that they would be rebranding the Divas division, possibly having a new title. So it was pretty clear there was a title under there, but she starts to talk about Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper, Fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, the Sensational Sherry, Alundra Page, Jacqueline, Trish Stratus. Doesn't mention herself, which is fair enough, very humble, but says that there is a new day, no pun intended, for the Divas division, and she unveils a belt very similar to the men's WWE Championship. It is white, it is red, it's a little bit smaller.
Just about the same waist size, though.
I haven't seen it on a person like strapped on to the champion yet. I think it's gonna look a little goofy. I already think the men's belt looks kind of goofy. But a giant belt, a really big belt.
Yeah, that's. And what do you think about the red? Like the red diamonds or not diamonds, whatever the fuck it's
like the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think if you were going to have a white belt, which you already have the Intercontinental belt with the white strap on it, I don't mind it too much. I think if it was solid white with the gold plating on it, it might look a little weird. So, I don't mind. I've seen some people say they don't like the red. I don't know. It looks okay.
I thought it would look better with a black strap because you already got the U.S. champion with the white strap, I believe, and
Intercontinental, yeah.
Intercontinental, and I think it would have looked better with just black and red.
I just, I don't know. Maybe there would have been a little confusion. Maybe they wanted to make sure that it didn't look exactly like the men's title, so they didn't put the black strap. I don't know. I mean, this also opens up the opportunity for merchandise, right? I mean, it's a very distinct belt, whereas, the men's title and the women's title, if they look too similar, maybe people would not buy both. They already, I mean, the day they debuted this, they already had the $400 replica belt up on the WWE store, so they're ready to sell some merch.
Now, do you think that Lita's gonna, not as a wrestler, but you think Lita's gonna come back like in a management or backstage role to try to push this, like a legitimate, like quote unquote woman's revolution, like they tried to do with the Divas Revolution, since they rebranded it now?
I mean, she's been very central to this whole thing. She's come out numerous times about it. She also came out on Raw, like we'll cover. And she has been finding a home for herself on the sort of kickoff desk, going there and sort of giving some analysis and stuff. It's nice to see her, sort of flourish and sort of come into her own in a broadcasting position. I don't know technically or specifically if she'll be put into a position where she's on the air. Hell, maybe she might become later on down the road. Maybe she'll be a manager of some sort. Yeah, I can see it. I don't know though. I mean, it's hard to tell. I think Stephanie has really wanted to get the rub of being sort of responsible, right? Even though it's not her decision, she comes out, she takes the credit. Oh yeah, I'm here to fucking usher in a new, So I think Stephanie might want the glory on that one. But just more broadly, I could see Lita getting more involved in the future and maybe having some sort of on-air role as some sort of authority figure.
That'd be nice.
So we move on from this announcement, the new belt, and we're at the third match of the kickoff show: the Usos versus the Dudley Boys. Terrible. I don't know. I can't. I'm sorry. Terrible.
Now, like I said, I know that the Dudleys are known for doing this, but I think Bubba Ray was just doing it a little bit too much, and it seems like screaming in the middle of the fucking ring is infectious because everyone seems to be doing it. You noticed that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like fucking yelling every 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Just and a lot of the times the crowd wasn't even fucking reacting. And he would just still scream, like trying to play this bully. And I understand they used to do that before, but this is not ECW. You're not going to get the same crowd reaction. And just why do they always stand in the middle of the ring and fucking scream? They always do that. They just have to go in the middle of the ring and scream at the top of their lungs.
Jay, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Are the Dudley Boys faces or heels?
That's a tough one.
Right. There is no good answer.
Shit.
There is no good answer to
It's
that
up to
because
interpretation.
they literally dip into both pools. They'll do heel type things and make, threats and wild declarations, but they'll also have call and response with the crowd. Heels do not incite the crowd to come along with them, to do the what's up, to do the get the tables. Literally, Bubba Ray shoves Devon and goes to the crowd to go with him to say, get the tables.
Yeah, and it definitely is not going to work with someone like the Usos who have been faces for a long time, and then the Usos do not work in a heel role, so
right.
They should be antagonizing the crowd.
Never have the Usos been in a heel slot.
No. So it doesn't make sense at all.
It's a bigger problem. And I don't want to draw this out too far, but it's a bigger problem of no one wants to play heel. And the WWE is a little too scared to just fully slot someone in as a heel, With social media now, right, you get a bunch of hate if you're the heels. Back in the day, people used to try to kick your ass, but now it's more just negativity on social media and shit. It's not like it used to be, but still, people just don't want to do the heel. They want to get the glory. They want to get the crowd pops. They want to, be darlings.
Well, I say like this, after looking at the treatment of some of the heels, like Bray Wyatt and stuff like that, who the fuck wants to be a heel?
Well, it used to be that you would sort of have almost 50-50 booking. Your heels would have to be strong to make your faces look strong, and vice versa. And now the heels just get fucking hoed out on the regular. I
It's
mean,
not that they just lose; they get embarrassed.
they get embarrassed. And to speak of the Wyatts, I mean, we'll talk about this later. What happens to them? They get buried. You know, it's just it's a terrible situation here. I thought that the Dudley Boys were going to get new life in them as heels. You know, they came back sort of for the nostalgia pop, and I have to admit, I fell into it of the Dudley Boys, yeah, you know, but that quickly wore off. People were excited to see them originally. You know, they were wrapped up in TNA, and you know, whenever someone comes over from another company, people get real fucking excited. But after a while, that novelty wears off. People start to get losses, and they cool them off, and then people are just kind of like, eh. And I thought that making them heels was going to be a revitalization for the Dudley Boys, and they've sort of been half and half. They really have.
Yeah, it's just like another person that came back from another company that's going to be in an that was in a faction that we're going to talk about. Del Rio. Look what happened to him. Everyone popped when he just came back surprisingly and won the championship, and now nobody can give a fuck about him.
Oh, people were genuinely excited. People were genuinely excited to see him back. He was the one that got away, the one that you'd never expect to see him back, and here he is, you know. And then they put him in the Mex American, and fuck, man, they don't know what they're doing. But anyways,
Nope.
A couple of interesting spots. Bubba tries to pay tribute to Dusty Rhodes, but Jimmy counters that with a super kick. So,
Fucked up.
yeah,
Thank you, Dusty.
yeah. So real big heel there, paying tribute to Dusty Rhodes. They also, like I said, do the call and response with the crowd to get the tables. They do the "What's Up" spot, which again, big heel tactics there to do crowd favorites. But we finally end up with super kicks in stereo. They both get on the tables side by side, sort of lined up, and off of both of the top ropes do the Usos come, connecting with splashes. Double KO, I guess you'd say, and the Usos successfully defeat the Dudley Boys.
They need to retire.
Like I said, it's fine, I guess, but just, you know, doesn't really resonate with me, right? I mean, the Dudley Boys are sort of confused on what they're supposed to be. I feel like they should just go full on heel, put people through tables, you know, and they're not really doing that. They're still sort of the nostalgia act, and that's what they were meant to get away from. They cut promos to say they were not a nostalgia act, and they're still doing the "What's Up," doing the "Get the Tables," you know.
Yeah, they're gonna come out with Tommy Dreamer again soon, and then say they're not a nostalgia act.
Bubba's gonna get the stutter going again.
Yep.
He speaks very clearly now, so we'll see. All right, so that is the kickoff show. Che, if you had to sort of give the kickoff show a separate rating, what would you say? Pretty long, you know, pretty drawn out. What do you think?
Now, there's one mistake that I thought they did that we'll talk about later with the kickoff show, and just because of that, I'm gonna say a 4 out of 10. It's just, you know, I understand that with a kickoff show, you know, it's not really supposed to be entertainment, but there's one fatal mistake that I think that they made with the match that we're going to talk about in a while, that I just think it made the kickoff show even worse, and it just fucked up the timing of everything. So I'm just going to say 4, below mediocre. Just, you know, you have a divas fucking match to promote some stupid show that really no one should give a fuck about. And if you have kids there, you should not be telling them, hey, watch this show where the Bellas are slapping each other on the ass. Like, I'm fine with that, but, you know, being a little bipolar there. But other than that, just a really forgettable kickoff show. And at your biggest WrestleMania, too, I thought they would have done something better. I mean, this is what gets your blood pumping. This is what gets you going to get ready for the main show of WrestleMania. And it's just, they always just bland.
You know what I think they should do for the kickoff show?
What's up?
I think they should host some whatchamacallit, some NXT matches.
That'd be great. That
Right?
would be a great way to promote NXT without, you know, them overriding any, you know, main rosters. And it's a good plug. It helps everybody in the end. That would be absolutely perfect. Just put some NXT people on there.
The NXT viewer base is already used to going on the network, right? That's the only place where you can consume NXT reliably. Go to the network, right? Check it out, and put some guys on there. They don't have to be. They don't have to be the biggest and best, but they debuted the Vaudevillains. They had a
Mm-hmm.
few debuts tonight and on Raw. Put them on there.
And
Get an audience on them. Give them a big stage. Let them do a show in a giant audience like that with a giant stage, and see how they do.
and it's good with talent relations because if you don't want to put someone on the main roster yet and they're getting pissed off, then you two can compromise and just put them on the WrestleMania pre-show.
Right. And what that does is it lets the main roster keep its premium, right? Because when you are putting people on the pre-show, you're no matter how you gussy it up, you're sending the message that this wasn't good enough for the main show. And you want to keep your main roster as something that's premium. And there's already an established knowledge, a realization that the NXT is the lower brand, right? That's why they call it the main brand and the NXT brand. Use that for what it's for. Elevate the NXT talent while still keeping the rosters with the same prestige. Oh, you've made it to the main roster. You're above, whatever. And give the guys a chance. Give them a chance to work a big stage, not just, road shows and a small little thing, because a lot of those guys haven't worked those giant things yet.
It's a good way to help everyone without stomping on anyone's toes.
Right.
That's the best way to put it. So, and it'll excite the crowd because a lot of people that go to WrestleMania, they're diehard wrestling fans. So they watch NXT. So that will get their blood pumping straight to the main show.
And
They
those
need to start
NXT
doing
guys, and those NXT guys could use the payday.
Oh fuck yeah, they did. I saw some of the salaries for them guys.
Mm-hmm.
They need it.
Yep. That's my idea. That's my idea to fix the kickoff show. You'd have possibly some of the most exciting matches, sort of like when the WWE brought in cruiserweights, the light heavyweight title.
Well, you might get a call from Vince McMahon soon.
Hey, line is open, buddy. Be more than happy to talk to you about that. But we get into the main show now. We start off with they consider them popular recording artists, Fifth Harmony. Have you ever heard of Fifth Harmony?
Never heard of them, and I really just skipped the damn show.
They sing "America the Beautiful" and they get us started at the patriotic display though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when the original start to WrestleMania used to be this grand extravaganza and shit? They'd do big things and big video packages and shit. This was almost like a formality. Like they just were going through the paces.
Well, at least it's better than Kid Rock.
Well, yeah, but he embodies patriotism, right? I mean, he's the good old-fashioned redneck, man.
Yeah.
He speaks directly to the target demographic.
Yeah, and something else spoke to them too. We'll talk about that later.
All right, so let's get into this first match on the pay-per-view. A crackerjack, if I will say so myself. Kevin Owens, the champion, defending his Intercontinental strap against Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, Zack Ryder, Sin Cara, The Miz, in a ladder match. Che, start us off.
I think it was a really good ladder match. You see, with the history of WrestleMania the past couple of years, whenever they do these gigantic ladder matches, there's always a bunch of good spots, and it's a lot of, they have the smaller guys on there, so there's not anything slowing down. But I will tell you one thing. This was probably one of the biggest shocks of the night. Not because it's really important, because nobody gives a fuck about the Intercontinental Champion, but who won it.
Absolutely.
That was the biggest surprise ever.
A bit of a surprise for sure. We get into this, the bell rings, and, Owens going after Ziggler and Zayn having a stare off, and they start to exchange right away with, you can tell from a mile away that they're setting up a program between Owens and Zayn. Unfortunately, Zayn did have an injury and it led to some complications the next night, but they really want to get this together, and the crowd really reacts for the Owen and Zayn.
I just hope that they actually put some time and effort into it because, Kevin Owens is a fat boy, so they haven't, they've kind of strapped the rocket to him, but then they kind of let go because I understand he's not in the shape that he could be, but I think with him and Zayn, it'd be great for the crowd if they just put, a good amount of effort into building his feud and just not make any stupid mistakes with the writing or anything like that. because they really have something here. And there's a lot of NXT people that like it, and the crowd seems to really be reacting to it. Just give them their shot. You're not going to give any of these guys a championship soon, and I definitely don't think they're ever going to give it to Kevin Owens. Just give them their shot. Give them a great feud. Put some
I,
time and effort into it.
I can agree with that. I can get behind that 100%. And I think that, you know, unfortunately, Sami Zayn is a little bit injury prone because of his style, but I feel like if you have them both at 100% and you give them the time and you give the feud the prestige that it deserves, and you really, you know, feed into the fact that the crowd is really into it, and you give it a top billing, I think people will really react to it. I think that, you know, even not just the hardcore audience, but I think that it'll communicate well to the casual audience, just to let them know that there's some history there. Let them know that they had their deal in the independents and in NXT, and I feel like it'll take off. I think it's a really good feud, a really solid program. Maybe we'll see that coming up here. Maybe it'll end up at the next WrestleMania.
Maybe, but did you see who they gave the title to?
So
Zack fucking Ryder.
Zack Ryder comes back out of nowhere, right? I don't remember this guy as much, right? Because in our time watching Raw, doing this show, he wasn't very prominently featured.
No, he's been buried for a long time. He's been, next to non-existent. I mean, with a little bit of pop-ups here and there, but the only time he's really showed up, like in the past 2 years, was to just lose, like a enhancement match or whatever, just a quick 2-minute match. He's been buried for a while. So to come out of nowhere without any build-up, without any indication that he's gonna win, and just give him the Intercontinental Champion, it's just weird. I mean, I thought it would give it to Owens or Zayn and just build a feud out of one of them chasing the other for the Intercontinental Champion. Like, nobody cares about Zack Ryder, and I think this is the wrong time to try to build him up. I mean, his time has gone and passed. He's been buried so much that, I mean, there's nothing that you can do for him. I had to ask you who he was, because I was like, who the fuck is that guy screaming woo?
Yeah, comes back with the beard. Looks like he's in good shape. I guess that's what he's been doing with his time, but man, really, really weird to see them go with this one. I thought that this would be either a pretty simple Kevin Owens win here to retain, or giving Sami Zayn the ball here. And I don't know, man. This is really of no consequence, is it? Zack Ryder wins the title, and well, I guess I'll spoil it. Loses the motherfucker the next night on Raw.
There you go.
To The Miz.
Oh.
Then on SmackDown, loses again in the rematch, the rubber match, to be solidly buried by The Miz after that WrestleMania moment. So what the fuck was this for?
That's what I'm saying. It makes no sense.
They clearly planned this out, because The Miz was about to grab the title, and Zack Ryder pushes him off from the top and grabs it himself. So it was clear that this Miz and Zack Ryder thing was already, planned out. They have him lose the strap to him on Raw, and then lose again in the rematch on SmackDown.
Who the hell did he piss off?
I don't know what this was for. This was like, they knew what they were going to do for the rest of the night, so they were just like, you know what, here's a bone for the fucking, shut your fucking mouths, here you go. That's what this was.
Just a waste.
Yeah, I mean, you internet fans, fucking, you're on our asses all the time. Here's your one fucking idiot that you guys like. Here, he can have a title.
Yeah. How dare you voice your opinion?
Yeah.
They could have just built a program around Kevin Owens chasing Sami Zayn, or vice versa, for this championship. You have a championship involved. You have two people that the crowd want to watch. You could have, if you do the right thing and you do it the right way, you could add a nice build up with a championship involved. And it's just, now they're just playing hot potato with it.
Now, I will say for this match, despite the finish, which is stupid, and as we all know now, amounted to nothing, amounted to fuck all, the match itself, some good spots. I mean, I don't want to get on here and just say that the only way you can be entertained is by these guys killing themselves, but you like the high spots, right? Who doesn't like the high? Unless you are, just so concerned with the health and well-being, or you want to play moral police, you cannot deny the entertainment value of the high spots, the high risk maneuvers. I mean, that they do them for a reason, right?
It definitely helps when you know the match is going nowhere and it
Right.
ends up becoming nothing. You can at least remember it for some pretty damn good high spots that most people in the crowd can't do.
Now, Sin Cara, God, man, that man flew off of some shit. And I mean, the big one, obviously, him going down through the ladder to the floor, looked good. And man,
Yeah,
just
that guy they replaced him with, the original Sin Cara, the one they replaced him with, has been doing a good job and not botching.
yep, he's been doing a good job. And like I said, I mean, some good high spots, some decent stuff to get through the match. But once you get to the ending of the match, you kind of realize it was all for nothing. Just a spot fest with a confusing ending that amounts to nothing. Was just something in that night to get a reaction from, because if you notice, the internet fan was very, oh yeah, he finally did it, yeah, good job, man, yeah, and everybody's all happy, and then they fucking take it right back the next night. So there you go. All right, next match on the card, the second match to get us through. Chris Jericho, AJ Styles had a lot of potential. Sadly, though, kind of forgettable. I don't know, man. Just the wrong guy won. We'll get to that in a second,
Exactly.
but just they did. AJ Styles did some cool shit. I mean, he hit the Styles Clash, which, man, they are just trying to bury that Styles Clash and replace it with his submission, I guess. Hits the Pele kick, which they're turning into a transition spot. But, man, oh man, he's got the phenomenal forearm now. Again, hits the Styles Clash for a 2. That is really, really surprising that they're making a move so unique, right? I mean, this is not something that you always see. A move that is regarded by fans as something that is a little bit dangerous because people don't know exactly how to take it. You're literally just supposed to do nothing, but guys try to tuck their heads and do all kinds of stuff. There's YouTube clips of people getting really fucked up by taking
They
this
only
thing.
they only trust veterans to actually take it. I mean, they're not going to send someone that just came onto the main roster and put them in that. Like they had Chris Jericho get put in it, and they had Curtis Axel, and he's a veteran even though he's not very popular. So they only trust certain people to take this finish.
And one of the problems is, so you kind of want to have a finisher that anyone can take, right? Like you think about these, like for example, like the curb stomp from Seth Rollins. That was good, right? Anybody could take it. Anybody could just be there, sort of in a push-up position and just fucking go down to hit the mat, right? No problem. The pedigree to a large extent, yeah, anybody can kind of take that. The rock bottom, anybody can take that. A Styles Clash. Can you see Braun Strowman taking one of those?
Hell no. He'll
Can you
get
see?
dropped on his head.
Can you
Take
see Big
Ryback.
Show? Can you see Big Show taking one of those?
Oh hell no. He's gonna get dropped on his head worse than what Kevin Nash did to him.
Can you see Vince
No.
McMahon taking one of those?
No.
You
And I
see what I
wouldn't
mean?
trust no.
So, you kind of want to have a finisher that anybody can take, and maybe in Japan they could get away with it a little bit because the guys weren't as big and lumbering, and but I don't know, man. I feel like if you're going to have the Styles Clash, if you're going to use it, it should be a one-hit KO. It should be a guaranteed finish. Because it is going to be special, right? You can't use it against everyone, so it is special, and it should be used for special occasions and stuff like that. Unfortunately, gets the 2 count, and really, Styles Clash is sort of just like a transition spot. It's not a guaranteed finish, and that's a shame. But we move on through the match. Jericho goes for the lion salt. Styles gets the knees up. He tries to go for a 450 splash on the springboard, gets a 2 count from it. Styles sets up the phenomenal forearm once again, but Jericho counters with the code breaker, and he gets the victory. Chris Jericho is your winner.
I don't know what they're doing. They always do this, right? They always I'm not saying AJ Styles is young because he's older, but he's new to the company. And instead of just giving him a push and just giving fans what they want, since they like him, they do pop for him. They just bring him in just to bury him. Like what does it help the WWE that Chris Jericho wins? He's just gonna fucking leave. He's a part timer. He's just gonna leave soon.
Yep.
Like he's already had his time. He's already had his time in a company. He already had his glory. Like, why give him a WrestleMania win?
It is a shame. It's a shame because this was the opportunity for AJ Styles to get a WrestleMania win, to get out there, to get a win over a good, solid competitor, and to sort of cap off this feud. I mean, this feud is really got drawn out. And you get AJ Styles having to go on with the losing record against Chris Jericho. Just doesn't make sense.
At WrestleMania, so
Now, while this match... Sorry, go ahead.
say goodbye to his push.
Now, while this match was going on, they actually had set up the entrance for the next match. A giant 20-foot box of fucking cereal, Jay. So while this match is going on, the crowd is getting distracted. Like, dude, what the fuck is this? They can see the logo on the shit. They know it's the Bootios fucking garbage. A little bit fucked up that they put that out there like that, and then the crowd's getting distracted and shit. They're all excited for New Day.
I mean, how you not gonna see it? It's gigantic.
They should have put it out later. But speaking of that, we get to the next match. The New Day versus the League of Nations. 3-on-4. If you're not aware, the League of Nations consisting of King Barrett. Is he still King Barrett or is he Wade Barrett?
I think he's Wade Barrett now.
Okay, now he's Wade Barrett. He's not the king anymore. You got Wade Barrett, Rusev, who's looking very slimmed down. It was actually surprising to see him sort of more svelte this time around. Mm-hmm. You've also got Sheamus and, of course, Alberto Del Rio, who's definitely being all of them are being squandered in this fucking...
It's just a terrible faction.
God, a 4-person tag... What are you going to do with a 4-person tag team?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, have a 2-person tag team. Like, the only reason the New Day works as a 3-person is because Xavier is essentially like the able-bodied valet that can go in there and actually like tussle with people and be a threat from the outside.
Yeah, he's there to just talk shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, boy oh boy, this was a chore. New Day comes out. I hate. Can I be honest here?
Go, please.
The crotch dance is literally ruining a generation of people. You have small children getting dick and balls waved in their face by a fucking giant man, and they're all and the other ones, right? You got Kofi out there twerking his ass and shit, while the other fuckface Xavier's blowing a trombone. This is not what I want to see. This is not at all what people want to see. Dudes in their fucking 20s do not want to see that shit. And if you like it, good for you. I do not fucking like it one bit. And they push the envelope every fucking time. Every time this fuckface is going out there with even more crotch.
Well, they're doing it in Saiyan gear now. And, I don't really understand their gimmick at all. I just think, I don't know. It's just WWE being bipolar again. They don't want to go PG-14, but then they want to do provocative stuff like this. They always try to push the envelope with certain things without saying they're pushing the envelope. And I'm like, if you're gonna have this shit, if you're gonna have Please with more Lana coming out and stuff, like if you're gonna have Total Divas, just why not just go to PG-14 already?
But they're pushing the bounds with male sexuality. What kind of shit is that? Now, let me tell you something. All right, they've done an interview. Big E did an interview about like, oh, well, what do you think about this and that? And they're like, oh, we constantly do this shit and they never tell us to stop, so we keep trying to push the envelope. Fuck you. All right. That's all your gimmick is at this point. Big E, right? A boring fucking wrestler, right? Just a short little fucking squat little piece of shit. He has no cardiovascular endurance. He sucks. And the only thing that he can do now is fucking gyrate his fucking testicles in front of small children that are sitting in the front row. That's his gimmick now. Congratulations. You're going to look back on this and you're going to be like, man, they really exploited the shit out of us. They had us going out there and fucking gyrating our hips and shit.
And what the gimmick start off as? What the good old humble boys from the South going to church, shining
Yeah,
shoes and
dude, fucking
choirs.
straight out of a Tyler Perry movie and shit. They got
Exactly.
stereotyped. Dude, they were shining shoes. Dude, you remember their feud with the Dudleys and fucking Biggie was they were polishing tables, singing slave songs?
It's so fucked up.
It's fucked up. And I remember also Vince McMahon was getting all fucking racist and shit like, "Oh, yeah, the new day, hallelujah," and shit like,
Oh God.
Jesus Christ, man. That is But anyways, the entrance, they're never gonna stop. Okay, so I realize that I'm complaining for no reason, but I just need to let it be known to anyone that can hear my voice. The Biggie crotch dance is terrible, and my friend Be Awesome One, he had Vince Russo make me a fucking personalized thing where Vince Russo talked to me about the Biggie crotch dance and shit. I'm fucking livid, ripping pissed about it. Fuck the Biggie crotch dance, and shout out to Be Awesome One, Vince Russo, I guess. But anyways. Fuck, man. This match, like, think about it, right? You've got a 4-on-3, and the 4 are some of your top heels in the company, right? Does anyone remember the fact that Sheamus was like the world heavyweight champion for a little while?
No, no one gives a fuck.
Does anyone remember the fact that Alberto Del Rio came back hot as fuck with a whole bunch of heat and got the U.S. title and then isn't doing anything?
No one cares about, and they're just a throwaway faction. No one cares about anyone in there. They're just there because they have to earn their paycheck. That's it.
Rusev got out of a program with fucking John Cena where they were going back and forth, and he actually picked up some wins on John Cena, and he was getting like almost top billing. Now he's in this 4-person and King Barrett, you know, whatever. You won King of the Ring. That makes sense. Okay, there were, but to be honest though, there were these rumors about he's injured and why isn't he on tape and why is he leaving and this fucking Wade Barrett thing was always this big mystery. People didn't know why he wasn't performing and stuff like that. But fucking come on, man! You're wasting 4 heels. I'll say 4. You're wasting 4 potential heels on this. A 4-person tag team. What are you gonna do? Most tag teams are 2 people. You're just gonna have feuds with the New Day and shit like that. Like you're just gonna fucking have them run interference or have a singles match with 3 people outside and shit. It's a waste. It is a waste. These guys need singles programs. Each and every one of them needs singles programs. King Barrett can go and spice up the fucking mid-card. Have feuds with the Intercontinental and U.S. titles. You can have fucking Rusev going out there and fucking with patriotic people and doing that angle. Or fucking have Alberto Del Rio go for the top title. Like, you're wasting people. You're really wasting people with this.
That I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking of, and they always have these terrible ideas that are fucking. Like, is anyone the League of Nations? That's the best you can come up with. Like, we're in the fucking 80s and late 70s again, and the Cold War is upon us. Like, this whole people from foreign fucking nations coming to beat the good old USA is just it's not going to work that much anymore. I think the biggest time in recent history that they ever got away with something like that and actually was worked a little bit with interest was like Rusev versus Cena, but that's because Cena was like a top guy. Like, nobody gives a fuck about the League of Nations.
This stable was already thrown together last minute because of Sheamus's unexpected title run.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, the less said about this, the better. Man, you've got Sheamus hitting the brogue kick to Woods, and he picks up the victory. Nothing really of note throughout, but afterwards, boy oh boy, some fucking shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
After the match, Barrett says that there's no trio that can beat up the League of Nations. Out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and Mick Foley.
Now, Mick Foley walking to the ring was longer than the whole fucking match. Terrible. This guy dived off a cage to save your company during the Monday Night War. Show him some respect.
Yeah. They listen, all right. If ever there was a time to bring out those moving rings from fucking WrestleMania 1 where they could just stand there and get carted to the ring, Mick Foley would be the person. Which actually, you know what? Maybe for the next WrestleMania they can do some shit like that because that was actually kind of cool. Memorable. He had some really good shots of people doing that.
Or have him come out the crowd so he doesn't have to walk as far. There you go.
I agree with you. They bring back Mick Foley, and he has to make the longest walk of the year. Dude, that's a long fucking walk,
Yeah.
dude. He had to walk. He basically had to go run a touchdown at fucking Cowboy Stadium. Good God, man. And again, I'm not trying to rip the guy. Neither of us are. He's a legend. He's really put in the miles and he is the definition of giving your body to that company, right? I mean, he really has. Why then cart him out there? He wasn't necessary. And you know, to use his throwback attire makes him look like a homeless person. And he's wearing like sweatpants, you know what I mean, pulling a sock out of his fucking pants and like, you know, come on, man. You're embarrassing the guy at this point. And I know he probably wants to do it and shit, but there's a way to do it with class. And to have him make the longest walk, you know that he has bad wheels. You know, you've seen him walk down the Raw ramp.
And for what? To fucking beat up the League of Nations?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Who's going to care about that? Well, you bring out 3 legends, and Shawn Michaels comes back.
Yeah.
Look in good shape, you know, in his ring attire, looking like he's about to
Great.
kick some ass.
Fantastic. For nothing.
For what? The League
Probably
of
worked
fucking
out.
Nations.
Probably worked out for weeks to do a 3-minute spot.
Exactly, for fucking League of Nations.
And this leads to an even bigger problem. Okay, the League of Nations, right? Those are some of your top heels in the company, and you have them getting completely destroyed by people that are so injured that they can't even wrestle. Don't tell me that age is a factor. Ric Flair was out there doing fucking backflips until he was 106. You got you got Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and Mick Foley, who are so badly injured, neck injury, back injury, everything injury, that they cannot compete. And you got them coming out there cold and whipping the fuck out of 4 guys. What the shit, man?
If they wanted comic relief, they could have just did it against fucking Bo Dallas. Why not?
Right. Do the fucking yeah, what are they? The social outcasts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that you take these guys and bury them with older talent. And as we'll see, this is a fucking recurring theme that they just refuse to build the current talent. They always have to bring back old guys and send the message that those guys who can't even compete and that you can't even have these people on weekly TV, those guys are superior to the guys you're stuck with on a weekly basis.
They're going to be fucked in 10 years.
Because nobody's over. The only people that are over that are getting pops are the old people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean old as an age. I mean older people from the 90s. It's unbelievable. It's really, I mean, I understand it's tempting to dip into the well, right? Get a big pop. Oh, you got Stone Cold at fucking Cowboy Stadium. That's great. But then don't use him to dispose of people that you still have years. Rusev has years left. Sheamus has years left. Alberto Del Rio has years left. Even Barrett has years. I'm not trying to hoe out Barrett. I'm just saying he's not at the you know, he hasn't been put to the level of the other 3. Those guys have shelf life. Those guys have time in your company to make an impact, to be big heels, to get heat, to get baby faces over, and they just get shit on.
They had the 2 people that they could have used comic relief and beat the shit out of. Bo Dallas and the fucking Heath Slater guy.
Absolutely. Slater Gator could have got demolished. And no one would have cared, and everybody would have been okay with it. And they still would have been like, all right, yeah, the old guys kicked somebody's ass. It would have been the same pop. These guys could have done moves on a mannequin and got a reaction out of it because they were doing something. They could have did it to anybody on the roster. They could have grabbed Michael Cole out from behind the desk, fucked him up, and everybody would have been happy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you got to do it to your fucking current heels. I'll get off my soapbox. I'm just saying, I mean, this is going to be a recurring theme. They give not a fuck about the current roster, and they always want to remind people that that wrestling used to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So we move on. They get fucking rolled. Mandible claws, Stone Cold Stunners, Sweet Chin Music. The New Day then grabs them, and they start dancing with them.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels was fucking twerking. And I understand people could make the argument that he was like that flamboyant, like male stripper type in the 90s, but still, he's like almost 50 now.
I'm sure Vince McMahon personally asked for that.
Oh yeah,
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 do it like you used to do back in my office, Sean.
mm-hmm.
Goddamn
Good old
fantastic.
times.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you want some practice? I'm here anytime you need me.
Bet you fucking Vince McMahon was fucking jerking off and shooting up some bull testosterone on TV while watching that shit.
Man, he sure did look tired in those shots that they showed of him, but fuck. So there you go. Woods tries to get Stone Cold to dance, and him having the only shred of dignity on that entire show hits him with the stunner and has a beer bash with his fucking beer. So, man, Stone Cold really pushing that beer. Whatever. Nice to see the old guys, but no, not. All right, moving on. Fourth match of the card. Probably the biggest I'll say disappointment. I would say the biggest disappointment in terms of what you had expectations for and what we actually got. A no-holds-barred street fight. Brock Lesnar, accompanied by Paul Heyman, versus the crazy Dean Ambrose.
This was a terrible match.
Dreadful.
I saw someone say it was good. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just there was no. It's like it's the same thing. Kendo sticks and chairs with the weakest shots possible. Knowing they get paid millions of dollars, and what's crazy is you have two people here that are capable of taking some abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar has bled before, and he's bladed himself before. And Dean Ambrose was in CZ fucking W. Brock Lesnar was an MMA fighter, an amateur wrestler. These two are capable of taking some punishment.
Yes.
They could bleed a little bit. They could get hit. They could. It doesn't have to be constant chair shots, but they could take one or two crazy hits that we'll remember. These two, but they don't do it. And the one spot that really pissed me off is they took out the chainsaw, and 2 seconds later, Brock Lesnar just throws it out, just fucking knees him or something. I forgot what it was, and just makes no use. They make no use of the chainsaw. I'm not saying you gotta fucking rev the chainsaw and cut him with it. I'm not saying
Cut him
that'd
in
be
half.
nice.
Nah, cut him in
Yeah.
half.
But you
WrestleMania
could-
moment.
Yeah, you could hit him with the handle with it or something. Something. Throw
Hit
it at him.
Hit him. Put your hand over it and hit him with the stomach.
Yeah, just fucking cut his toe off or something.
Well, much less of a guy getting cut in half, which I'm all for. I wish this match got cut in half. There was absolute. Che, why are they booking Lesnar the same time, the same every time to be? He no-sells all of your offense and beats you down, and then eventually he wins. Why is that every fucking match? We're past that, right? He has the luster of beating the streak, right? He had the luster of not even getting defeated for the title. He is strong. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to constantly shit on every single competitor he goes with. There's no excitement.
No. People know his record. People know that he was a beast when he first entered the WWE. People know that he was an MMA fighter, was UFC champion for a short time. People know he's legit.
Right. There's a way to do it where you can concede the fact that one is stronger or more capable than the other, but that the other one is the wild card and has an ability to win by doing something crazy, as we'll see a little bit later, right? There's a way to do that. There's a way to concede that one is greater than the other, but that one has a chance to do something fucking ridiculous and win. You did not get that sense in this match.
No.
And this was the one that was getting built up as, hey, it's a stretch. It's a stretch that Dean Ambrose can win this one, and you probably know how it's going to go. But you have hope that maybe he can do something. He got tutored by fucking Terry Funk and shit, and he got the chainsaw, and he got the barbed wire bat and shit like that, both of which made appearances and meant nothing.
And they did a bait and switch because they brought out Terry Funk. Now, anyone that knows anything about wrestling knows that this motherfucker was 60 years old, backflipping on the landmines and shit,
Absolutely.
doing barbed wire matches. So if you have Terry Funk coming out, you can give off the impression like, oh my gosh, WWE might get a little bit more crazy than usual in this match because they brought this guy out, hardcore legend. And what happened? A kendo stick and some chairs. And they even botched one of the spots. Brock Lesnar flips fucking Dean Ambrose over the chairs.
Oh my God, wasn't that great? What a considerate guy, right?
Yeah.
They put out 106 chairs, right? Oh, they're really fucking throwing all the chairs in the ring. Brock Lesnar goes to do a belly-to-back suplex, and throws him over the chairs and lands on it himself. Now, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it's almost as though Brock sold it, because if you land on the chairs, you're supposed to be fucked up, and he did, so I don't know. But this was an absolute disappointment. There was like this sliver of hope that you had that Dean Ambrose can somehow pull this off, and that it's not just going to be what we're used to, of just people just coming in and getting steamrolled by Lesnar, and that's what we got. Two things that were throwbacks to the build-up: the chainsaw and the barbed wire bat. Both did not get used. They essentially used kendo sticks and chairs on each other the whole time in the ring. Like, this was not. This was barely a street fight. This was a step above regular match.
Yeah, the only thing that they used the barbed wire wrap for was like fucking Dean Ambrose licked it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
So we end the matchup with Ambrose brings in the bat. Lesnar ducks, hits the 10th German suplex on top of the chairs. Lesnar gets a F5 onto the chairs, and he picks up the victory. Anticlimactic.
Terrible.
Just terrible. And I hate to say this, but I'm tired of Brock Lesnar. He's no longer a novelty. There's no longer wonder. There's the person that beats him, people are just going to be like, all right. There's going to be like some initial shock, like, oh, wow, Brock Lesnar lost. But it's like, I don't care. I'm sick of seeing Lesnar. I sort of want him to go away and to let other guys, get their chance. Because if you go up against Brock Lesnar, you're most likely going to lose.
Just Dean Ambrose continues to get buried, and there's no this is going to affect him for a long time, and there's no reason for it.
We move on to one of the highlights of the show. Finally, something that you can actually be all right with. We've got the 5th match on the card, the Women's Championship, the rebranded belt. Charlotte accompanied by Ric Flair, Sasha Banks sort of accompanied by Snoop Dogg, and Becky Lynch, who gets fuck all and shit on at every fucking opportunity. The redheaded stepchild, literally. First of all, let's do the entrances. Let's talk about this. We've got Becky coming out with nothing, of course, right? Fuck her. Maybe in the old days, God rest his soul, maybe she would have come out with Roddy Piper if he were still around. That would be nice. That'd be kind of cool.
I wish they would have done it when he was still alive.
Absolutely. That'd be a good endorsement. You got Ireland, you got Scotland coming together, whatever. But you got... Or maybe, oh man, I got a good one. Shout out to Blake. Maybe Fit Finlay, the Irish Connection.
Sure.
The Belfast Brawler.
Sure. Then he can sue Blake.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm telling you what, man. When he gets his hands on him, but yeah, man. Becky comes out with nothing. Sasha Banks, who I'm sure everyone thought that this was her time, comes out with just a over-the-top entrance, really. Snoop Dogg raps her out, right? The other, I'm not sure who the other female is, the one that sings her song. Mm-hmm. My apologies. Streamers, I think she got a little bit of pyro. I mean, this was a big entrance for her, right? This was her arrival.
It looked like she won the match, and it was the end of it.
Absolutely. So, of course, you have expectations that something grand is going to happen here, and then... this is just stupid. Charlotte comes out with like a robe. The announcers say that this was made of pieces of Ric Flair's robe from WrestleMania 24. So you mean they cut up his robe and gave it to her? The fuck is wrong with these people?
I don't know.
I don't know. You know that the announcers are full of shit anyway, so, we'll never know. And probably Ric Flair will toe the company line and say, oh, yeah, that was made from pieces of my robe, but whatever. Get some pyro. This match, actually pretty good. This is essentially an NXT match. This is an NXT match that was put on WrestleMania.
Especially Charlotte. Mm-hmm. What she did off the top rope was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting any of them to go... high flyer, but she is athletic. I can say that. And, some of it's natural, some of it's, enhanced, but,
yeah. Charlotte looks like she got enhanced.
She looks like she can beat men up. I will say that.
Yes. I definitely think that Charlotte gives legitimacy to the women's division. She is an obvious. She's obviously an athlete. She's talented. She has the bloodline is there, and the promos can use some work, obviously. But Sasha Banks is also up there. I mean, she's not the same athlete, right? I mean, they look like completely different universes of people, but Sasha's up there, and she's got the promos. She's got a look to her. She's got that. She's got that Snoop Dogg shine, and did not go her way. Were you surprised by the finish?
Yeah, I definitely was. I thought what happened when was Charlotte was outside the ring. I thought she was just gonna play dead for a while and maybe try to stop the pin from happening or the submission, but do it in a really slow way, just to milk it that she can't get up or she's crawling to them as the finish is happening. But no, she came back in really fast and won. I was totally surprised by that, because usually what happens when it's the end of the match and they're drawing near and they get thrown out or they get slammed or anything like that, they just milk it. They just lay there. But no, she came in like Superwoman and won the match. And especially with the entrances, I thought Sasha Banks was going to win. Especially with Snoop Dogg going into the Hall of Fame.
Right. I mean, everything lined up. The planets aligned, Che. And unfortunately, Charlotte ends up with it. The finish is Banks tried to break the submission. Charlotte has Lynch in the figure 8. Sasha tries to get in there to stop it. Ric Flair grabs her by the ankle, and Becky Lynch always takes the pinfall, takes the submission, always ends up gets the short end of the stick every time.
So much potential for her.
And she just gets demolished every time. If ever there's a time to take the pinfall, she's there. And if you saw her on Raw, she's got one hell of a shiner. Her right eye was left eye, completely fucked over. But there it is. Charlotte wins your rebranded Women's Championship, gets the new belt. To my disappointment, I was saying throughout that it was going to look stupid and comically big. She put it on her shoulder, not around the waist, so I still have yet to see that visual, but I'm sure that it's going to look goofy. So we go on to what should be, man, grueling, huh? This is a This is a long one.
And what we can say about WrestleMania 32 is just their timing and execution was just very bad.
They sped up and slowed down at various points instead of just sort of
at the wrong points.
Right. But here we go. This, in my opinion, was billed as the A program. This was what I thought was going to carry the show, and turns out it kind of did. We've got the 6th match on the card, the co-main event, if you will. The Undertaker versus Shane McMahon. Hell in the Cell match. If Shane were to win, he gains full control of Raw. If Undertaker loses, which is the same stipulation, and also in addition if Shane wins, this will be his very last WrestleMania. The streak is officially closed. What can I say?
Well, about this match, I have to say there were some things that were disappointing, but it delivered on the fact that I remember it. I didn't like the execution and the ending that much, but there definitely was a WrestleMania moment, and especially with the shit that happens after this match, I can definitely feel comfortable saying that this was the spotlight of the whole show. I do. And there's some things I want to say. I was reading some people online, and they were saying, like, Shane, he can't throw convincing punches, but I just have to say this, the guy's been getting some training, but it's hard, I definitely understand where he's coming from. He's not a full-timer, he never was, but it's definitely hard to fake punch someone, because, you have to hold back and you have to connect, but you have to do it in a way that you're not insulting them or you're not trying to fucking kill them. Everybody's not Van Vader. Van Vader just punched you in your fucking neck and broke your nose and didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He killed you and he didn't care, but he's not that type of worker. So I definitely sympathize with him trying to throw a fake punch and not insult the Undertaker or hurt him or try to hurt him or be offensive, but still connecting. So I sympathize with him there. I thought it looked pretty good, especially the first 5 minutes of the match. They did something that was kind of odd that definitely you don't see too much. They tried to pretend like they were actually fighting for a minute.
It started off like an MMA match.
Uh-huh.
Shane was throwing leg kicks. Shane was throwing punches, trying to sort of pester the Undertaker. But as I sort of mentioned earlier, with the Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose match, there's a way to make it seem as though one person still has a chance to do something crazy and win the match somehow while being outmatched. Mm-hmm. And you had the sense throughout this match that somehow Shane could win. And that is a big credit to Shane, right? He is the definition of a part-timer. This guy has been gone for 10 years. And even when he was back, he only wrestled a few times here or there. But he did crazy shit. He did crazy fucking, jumps off of stuff onto people. And you just thought that if he did something like that, he could win. He wasn't just going to hit some finisher. He wasn't going to hit a series of moves and wear it on his opponent. He was going to do some big fucking spot, and that could close the show.
And it definitely helped that he came out looking in great shape for someone in their late 40s.
Came out, he had the Jordan 30s rocking, he came out ready to go. And again, his jiu-jitsu, he's been training with Renzo Gracie, and he actually pulled a little bit of jiu-jitsu off in this match. He went for a triangle choke, he went for an armbar, and the Undertaker
did the
Gogo Plata. The Hell's Gate.
Hell's Gate.
Hell's Gate. But the psychology of the match was all over the place. We'll get into that in a second. But as far as the match, if you just saw the match and just enjoyed it without knowing the stipulations involved, without knowing the stakes involved, somebody could just watch the match itself and get enjoyment out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's what they have a responsibility to do. You can't always rely on the overlying storyline or the stakes or the aftermath to carry it. You need to just have fun matches in the time. And this is what this was, and the crowd was really into this one. And lo and behold, Shane McMahon goes up to the top of the cell and goes for an elbow drop. Now, while we were watching this, we sort of talked a little bit about, what can he do? Can he jump off of the cell? And, we sort of went back and forth like, yeah, maybe he'll do it. Or, no, there's no way he can do it. And to watch, he looks up at the cell, he thinks about it, takes that fucking climb up there, does the cross twice on his fucking chest, and hits the jump, man. What was going through your mind when you saw that?
Someone in their late 40s has got, and someone that doesn't need to, by the way, because he's already rich. He already comes from, a bloodline that has a lot of money, and he's been doing a businessman himself. He's someone that doesn't have to do this. He could leave and go home, and he can do the worst match ever, and it would not matter him. And this man is crazy in a good way. And you cannot watch Shane McMahon and not think that he doesn't have balls or he does not want to entertain the fans, because he does. Because if he would have just climbed halfway and jumped off the cage, then people would have been like, all right, that was decent, but we've already had Dean Ambrose do that with Seth Rollins in their cage match. So one of the best WrestleMania moments in the past couple of years, especially anything hardcore Hell in the Cell, because here's someone that actually did. They went to the top of the fucking cage. No bullshit, no halfway, no 3/4, the top of the cage, and dropped. My only problem is that I kind of wish that they had a bigger table, or something that they could make it where Undertaker, still was laying down but didn't take any of the impact, but they can pretend that he did, because he jumped out really fast.
Right. Yeah, he was out of there.
Yep.
I don't want to say he was entirely disappointed that Undertaker didn't take the bump, because there's no good way to set that up. He's still going to hit you on the way down, even if the table takes most of the brunt of it, even if you set it up in some way. That elbow is still coming down.
And I understand that, because I would be scared as shit If I
Oh
saw
yeah.
someone ready to jump down on me, I'd move
Right.
out the way too. So I totally understand it.
The amount of force that's coming down on you from 20 feet up to come down. But just to sort of branch off of what you were talking about Shane and his legacy and stuff, you have to really think about this. All right, you got to think about the locker room and these guys who are there day in and day out, and they see the boss's son, the privileged rich kid, right? And oh, he's gonna come in and he's gonna start wrestling with us. Shane started off as a referee, if you remember, way back in the day. That didn't really go too far, but you got to think about these guys, and they see the boss's son coming in, and oh, this what's he gonna do? And over his time, he earned their respect. He is a guy that the Undertaker is willing to do a WrestleMania match with. And I know, and it's well documented how picky the Undertaker is with who he's going to have WrestleMania matches with. He's turned down several people over the years, and especially with Brock Lesnar and ending the streak and stuff like that. For the Undertaker to use one of his last WrestleManias, he doesn't have much more left. On Shane McMahon, that's a big sign of respect, and I think it's very telling of Shane's character, not as a WWE character, but as a man, as a character, his character to go out there and to do things that he doesn't have to do. He's already set for life, and he's going out there and he's risking life-changing injury, even death. To go out there to earn the respect of the fans and all that kind of stuff. So nothing but respect for the guy. He did not have to do that. He didn't have to do any of this. He didn't have to do any. He could have taken he could have been Vince McMahon Jr. and just went and played a heel manager and sort of got a couple beatings here or there. But the stuff that he's done some of the most extreme spots in not just wrestling history, not just WWE history, but in wrestling history. Some of the most extreme.
Yeah, and then like you said before, there is no safe way to take that spot, and anything can happen, and it can go wrong very quick.
There could be a monitor there. They didn't. I was paying special attention because of the way that, there have been certain things. You remember Randy Orton took the monitor to the back when they didn't clear it out properly. I was keeping an eye on the way that they were handling the table spot, and they didn't really go out of their way to clear out monitors and shit like that. I believe there was still a monitor sort of at the bottom of the table, like the left side of the table and stuff. So there's a lot of ways this could have gone wrong.
Definitely, but wow, that really did save WrestleMania for me. Doesn't mean it's a good show, but it kind of got the blood pumping, and it helped us deal with what was about to come. But goddamn Shane McMahon, let me tell you something. That kid is, not kid, but that guy is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yep. Crazy. He's a crazy person, but crazy in the right way. Much to our benefit that he's a crazy guy. And again, all the respect in the world. That is just above and beyond. I think that is how you would characterize his career. If this is the end of his wrestling in-ring career, you could only sum it up as going above and beyond, doing what he did not have to do in any way, shape, or form. So, but unfortunately, Undertaker rolls out of the way. Shane goes straight through. Sort of gives him the finger, tells him to bring it on. Taker grabs him up, drags him into the ring. He again tells him to bring it. I thought that was a little overused, unfortunately. The bring it on thing. Taker hits him with the tombstone pile driver, and that is it. Your winner, The Undertaker. Raw is now still as it always was. The Undertaker still can wrestle WrestleManias. Nothing changed whatsoever. All of it was for nothing.
Yeah. Especially after all that, especially after jumping off the top of the cage and risking your life. What are they going to do with Undertaker? I think this was like a good time to send Undertaker off because, Sting's not, the legend match, the legendary fabled match that everyone wanted between Sting and Undertaker is not going to happen because, unfortunately, Sting with his neck injury, Shane comes back, I just think it would help them to get the win and just let Undertaker go. He's old and he's trying his best, but the years have not been good to him, unfortunately.
It sucks, It sucks that this was all for nothing. You think about it, right? You had Shane come out, run down the company, talk about their stocks, talk about their ratings, real stuff. And it all boils down to nothing.
Yeah.
No change. The audience was excited for some possible change, a shakeup, something new, and ratings have reflected that they just people have tuned out, and I missed almost the entirety of the build up for WrestleMania. That's unheard of. That's when you're watching. That's when you're interested. You want to see what they're setting up, and I just couldn't find the interest to do it, and the ratings reflected that the same way. That is, the atmosphere, the environment right now is that people just don't care, and it's unfortunate. And again, all this was for nothing. It seems as though, in my opinion, this storyline was rushed together, thrown together. What big attraction are we gonna have for WrestleMania? Oh, I know. We'll fucking, we'll have Shane come back and do some fucking thing where he almost kills himself and shit. I just thought, unnecessary, and to make it all unnecessary is the fact that this all means nothing.
Yeah, well, it was definitely rushed together because I remember some, rumors and then backstage news that, once all these injuries happened, especially with Seth Rollins, they were trying to get people like Goldberg to come back and negotiating with all that. So this was just rushed last minute. But I think it definitely would have helped them if Shane would have won, because even if they kayfabe, pretend that Shane's going in there to change stuff, it still boosts ratings up, even if it's temporarily.
Right. Right. You have Vince trying to figure out whatever he can. You have the authority helpless, and they're trying to scheme and connive their way to get their power back and shit. Would have been exciting, but can't happen. Seventh match. This was oddly placed. I was really surprised that they put this in this spot. I would have preferred this either on the kickoff show or somewhere in the middle of the card, but after that huge match, huge spot. The crowd is winded, and they are treated to an Andre the Giant Battle Memorial. You've got, the Big Show, Fandango, Damian Sandow. DDP makes the surprise entrance. Victor and Connor from the Ascension. Jack Swagger. Tatanka, of all people. R-Truth, the Social Outcasts. Kane. Mark Henry, Tyler Breeze, Darren Young, Bo Dallas is part of the Social Outcast. And then you have some surprises. You've got yourself Baron Corbin getting the call up from NXT, who I personally thought that was a little bit early to be doing that. And Che, I'm sure your favorite, Shaquille O'Neal.
That was one thing. One thing good about this match is that I realized, and I thought of this before, but it just goes to show you how gigantic Shaq is.
God damn it, man.
Yeah.
Dude, he went toe-to-toe with Big Show and, didn't dwarf him, but Jesus, man.
Yeah, but the biggest problem with this Battle Royal is that it just sucked the life. After you get the momentum going with Shane and everything like that, you have this. So when you throw a match like this out there to piss break or whatever, you have to rely on your main event to deliver.
Right.
And as you find out in the future, whether that happened or not, the problem is that it's such a risk to slow down the show like this and get everyone at a standstill, because your main event has to deliver. And if it doesn't, it's going to be drawn out and it's going to make the show worse. So they should have just put this on a pre-show.
It should have been. And, I mean, this might have been the bathroom break. This might have been the go have a smoke, if you're at home, do some extracurriculars. I don't know. I don't know what the point of putting this here was. But, I don't know. I mean, what good came out of it was you had Baron Corbin, who, again, just got called up from NXT, and he wins the Andre the Giant Memorial. It kind of helps Cesaro, I guess. It was something. It's not exactly like the King of the Ring where it hurts a guy, but You know, I guess it's fine. Again, I personally would have liked to see Baron Corbin get a little more experience because, he didn't exactly go through the Indies the same way everyone else did, and he's kind of green. I got to be honest, but he gets the call up, and as we saw in Raw, he's ready to go. So this sort of was the arrival of Baron Corbin, even though this was slotted in a match where people just didn't care at that point. The wind was out of their sails, right? People were just sort of trying to recover from that last match. And you get in Baron Corbin, you give him this win here, and yeah, eliminates Kane. That a little bit symbolic. Kane, very, very well known for his battle royals, his Royal Rumbles. I don't know. Any last thoughts on Baron Corbin here picking up the win?
Good for him, but the timing and the placing of this match was just a huge mistake.
Huge
I don't know what
mistake.
they were thinking.
I agree with you. Like I said, this, if you're gonna do something like this, maybe put it on the kickoff show. Maybe do it in the middle of the card to spice things up. If you would have put it in the middle of the card, maybe this would have gotten people excited again. But to put it here, just sort of continues to kill the crowd. So we move on. Well, don't know what to call this. We've got The Rock coming out with a flamethrower. Comes down to the ring with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. He grabs the mic. Finally, he's come back to Dallas. Finally, he's come back to WrestleMania. Puts over the attendance record at 101,763 people, which is absolutely false and fake, but oh well, just live with it. Excuse me. We've got The Rock talking all kinds of shit, but then The Rock says things are about to get good and hit the lights, hit the music, the cell phone flashlights go off, and the Wyatts make their way to the ring. Bray cuts a promo about the stars and the planets and the universes and the forces of good and evil, and what is that an opportunity for The Rock to do? Bring him back to Earth and treat him like a fucking scrub. Tell him that he's fat. Tell Bray Wyatt that he's got talent, but he's just stupid. Talks about how Bray is going to go to the Crackle Barrel. I guess that's supposed to be I think he said Crackle, but it's supposed to be Cracker Barrel. Have some chicken and waffles. Say that Rowan's parents are related. Say that Strowman has been breastfed since until he was 26 years old.
And the Duck Dynasty hick bitches comment.
Oh my God! Completely buries the Wyatts of all
But he said
people.
one good thing.
You're gonna bury them. Yeah, I respect you, but you're a piece of shit. You disgust me and all this shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Your parents are related.
Dude, completely ran them down to be comical rednecks. They're supposed to be this terrifying group of semi-mystical people that kidnap people and they're supposed to be creepy because of this. Now they're comical. Now they're just fucking rednecks.
Yeah, they're supposed to be a cult.
Bray gets called the Master of Hot Pockets.
Oh, that's just on the biggest stage in the world by one of the most famous wrestlers and then probably actors in the past 30 years.
Then after this, right, then Bray has the nerve to say something back, that he's here to kick The Rock down. Rock takes his shirt off and says, let's fucking do it. Yeah. And which one of you Duck Dynasty bitches are going to have your monkey ass kicked?
You know what's funny?
Yes.
This is the funniest thing. Rock acts like he's so offended. He just said all these things about these guys, and he gets so offended when they want to throw down.
Oh, you don't like it, huh? Oh, you want to fight now? Now we're going to have to even it up now. He just called them everything.
Yeah, you sit there and you take it.
Yeah. Destroyed Lana. Dude, he comes back. Listen, all right, I was a big fan of The Rock growing up during the Attitude Era. Big fan of The Rock. He does more harm than good whenever he comes back. Mm-hmm. He buries talent. He does and says things about people that the crowd is very receptive to. And he cuts down people's characters in such a way that there's almost no way they can recover from that. He called Bray Wyatt fat. He said that Braun Strowman looks like he's been breastfed until he was 26. He says that they're rednecks, they're Duck Dynasty bitches. This all is, it's not far from the truth. You know, like it's unbelievable, and The Rock is just he's obnoxious at this point. He's so into himself and tries to break the fourth wall all the time, and it's just really off-putting, and he really gives the vibe that he's only here as a favor to you guys before he goes back to his much more glamorous and awesome life. And it's just, I don't know, it's off-putting. And as someone who really loved The Rock, every time he comes out, I'm disappointed, and it's just, I don't know. He does more harm than good. That's what I'll say. He might have gotten a few more people to show up to that stadium. He might have pushed a few more tickets, but the lasting damage that he's going to do to your talent that are going to be there from week to week, I don't know. It's hard to come back from. So anyways, Rock says it's time to throw down then. Oh, you said something back to me. Well, now I'm going to fuck you up for that. And he takes off his shirt. He's ready to scrap. He says, which one of you guys are going to do this? And Eric Rowan gets pushed out. Now, I'm sure that you thought, as I thought, that this was going to be Bray versus The Rock, surprise matchup, and an awesome thing.
Mm-hmm.
Rowan,
or at the very least, they get jumped, or they jump The Rock. Do some cult shit.
Rowan versus Rock lasts all of 6 seconds. He gets rock bottomed immediately and pinned immediately. Before which, Eric Rowan looked terrified. He was terrified to attack The Rock for fear of retaliation. He gets hit with the finisher and pinned. Now, I'll have you know that it takes around 3 seconds for the referee to count the pin. It took 6 seconds for... So, I went on a tirade about this. It's much like the one I said before about how new talent is constantly getting shit on. But this was not even the beginning. No. After the match, the Wyatts corner The Rock and try to beat him up. And out comes John Cena. Yes, John Cena, early from his recovery, taking a bit of a risk here to come in mid-recovery to aid The Rock. Rock hits the rock bottom to Braun Strowman. Cena drops Rowan with the side slam, the 5-knuckle shuffle, the attitude adjustment. Bray goes for the Sister Abigail to Cena, but Cena sends Bray into The Rock. Hits him with the spine buster, hits him with the people's elbow. They all hang out with each other, pose down, walk up the ramp, arm in arm almost. And that's it. There you go.
Yeah.
A waste of time.
Say goodbye to the Wyatts.
The Wyatts are, dude, they have so much potential to be a force to be reckoned with. And... you know, they can use the Freebird rule like the New Day does, where you can have whatever configuration of the three of them can defend the title. And, you know, New Day versus Wyatt family. That's a solid program.
It could have been.
Could have been, should have been. I don't know. Bray Wyatt should be, you know, heading up the card. He should be near the top. He should be getting in some good singles matches. I know he's got his back injury, but this is even worse. You're setting him up so that when he does come back, he's coming back with this. So
absolutely ridiculous.
I won't rehash the whole rant, but you guys, I'm sure, can understand how I feel now about new talent coming in and getting demolished by older talent, part-timers who are not going to be there to carry the torch for you. They're just there for appearances here or there, and whenever they come back, they demolish the current talent. It's terrible. But speaking of terrible, Che, this match, the definition of terrible, the encapsulation of terrible, the personification of terrible, the main event. It's time. Triple H, you're defending WWE World Heavyweight Champion, defending against the People's Champ, the People's Choice, Roman Reigns.
Where to start with this one?
Well, let's give it as least time as we can. We start with the entrances. Now, Che, I know you felt the same way that I felt about this. Stephanie McMahon needs to go. She needs to
Yes.
not be on television anymore. Because she has a duality of her to where she is trying to push anti-bullying and tell people to be good people and to be nice to each other, and then she comes out and cuts a scathing promo on the fucking crowd.
She's very condescending.
Those
Very.
people, you said it really well. Those people are there to have a good time. They get
Yeah.
called poor and what, oh my god, what did she say to them?
She was saying, I know why she was doing that. She was mad at internet fans, but she said something like them being peasants and all that
Oh,
stuff. Like this,
grovel at our feet.
yes,
We are the generals. We are the protectors, the providers, and you depend on us. Grovel at our feet. You are trash. You are
ridiculous.
filth. You disgust us. You need us, but we don't need you. And you are nothing. You are beneath us. You are trash at our feet. Those people are there to have a good time. They got guys with their sons and shit, all trying to have fun. And you had 100,000 people staring into the bottom of their beers, fucking depressed, looking
Yep.
down and shit because they just got told off by Stephanie that she gives a motherfuck about any of them and that they're
Yeah.
trash.
And she's like, oh yeah, she's basically saying like, hey, I'm a millionaire. I'm gonna go back to my millions. And what do you have to go back to, huh?
Oh
You
my
guys got to
god.
work.
And all that to get Triple H to come out without any sort of fucking crown or Terminator outfit or any of that kind of shit from last year, which that's an improvement. Comes out, she's the one all dressed up and shit, looking like a mix between Mad Max and Sindel from the Mortal Kombat movie.
Like Skeletor and shit.
Fuck, man. So Triple H comes out, fairly standard entrance, which is good. Did a lot of that, like went to the second rope and really like had a conversation with the crowd for some reason. I don't know what that was about. He usually just does a little bit and then raises his arms, but really fucking had a little conversation that time. And then Roman Reigns comes out, booing the fuck out of. God damn, I've never. Have you heard Roman Reigns get booed like that before?
I think the closest thing we can compare to is Royal Rumble. They
Yeah.
don't like them.
Yeah.
And this was the perfect opportunity too.
They booed the shit out of him. He throws a little punch at the bottom of the star, gets some fireworks, and we're off to the races, folks. We start off with a side headlock takeover.
Now,
I'm not kidding. We start with a side headlock takeover.
now one thing that is you'll notice throughout this match is that Triple H got all of the offense in.
Yes.
He steamrolled him.
This was, in my opinion, this was one of the worst matches that Reigns has ever had in his career.
No, he
I
just
mean,
looked terrible.
you look at it and you think that there's going to be something to this. There's going to be the heel turn that we're all excited for. There's going to be something redeeming about this match. And even if they can't put on a 5-star match, that something is going to come of this. And you're waiting and nothing happens. And Stephanie distracted the ref a couple times. By the end of it, they're teasing the sledgehammer. But I mean, I know that you can agree that there was just nothing of note in this match.
No, and especially with how they placed the card with the two things before it, like the long rock sequence and the battle royal. They just sucked the life out of the audience by the end.
It was really, a waste of time. And I don't know why they did this match the way they did. They laid it out. I mean, these matches were laid out before they went on. They knew this was the main event, and I mean, this is what you're stuck with. And I will say this, when Triple H does shit, it looks cool. I mean, he is, I don't want to say he's at the prime of his career, but I mean, for his age and stuff, and the fact that he doesn't wrestle very much, I mean, his moves looked solid. They looked fluid. He is very much the tactician, as Michael Cole would say, and to see that he couldn't really get a good match out of Roman Reigns, I'm worried. I'm worried if Roman Reigns is going to be carrying these matches, the quality of matches that he can put on. And so we get to the end.
Worst.
God. So we get to the end. And there's a bit of an argument between Stephanie and the referee, and that ends up with Reigns spearing Stephanie. Triple H hits the pedigree, only gets a 2. Hits the high knee, gets another 2. Stephanie passes Triple H the sledgehammer from the ring under the. She grabs it from under the ring. She's on the floor laid out, hands it to him. Reigns with a Superman punch, another Superman punch, tries to hit Roman with the sledgehammer, and he counters with the spear. Clean victory, Reigns. And that's what we go off the air with. There's no heel turn. There's no fucking... Like, we all assumed that there was going to be something. People were going to come out. Oh, The Rock is going to come, and he's going to fucking fuck over The Rock and get people to hate him. This is what we went off the air with. The Roman Reigns is happy and showing the crowd his belt.
Now, this was a perfect opportunity to turn Reigns heel. I don't have a problem with him winning the belt, but he should have went heel and attacked the crowd. That was a perfect.
This was the opportunity for her to grab the mic and to say something to the crowd. Go fuck yourselves. Yeah, what's up now? There's any number of things he could have said. He settles for pandering to the crowd, and there are strong reports that for the network they killed the audio for the boos.
Really? How did they just
They killed the crowd audio and just blasted his music. Yeah.
Wow.
So the live feed had a cut from the boos and just blared his music.
Again.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. They are unapologetic in this.
You think they put like fake cheers in?
They might have. They might have put fake cheers, but they definitely cut the boos and blasted his music. And again, this is how you went off the air. You had this was the time. Your WrestleMania moment could have been finally the crowd gets what they want and Roman Reigns turns heel officially, but they don't do it. And this is what you go off the air with.
Think about it. He could have. This would have perfectly set up against him and Seth Rollins in the future.
Yeah.
Perfect opportunity.
Absolutely. So what are they going to do now? Are they going to have Reigns versus Rollins, and they're still going to try to make it so that Rollins is the heel in this? I mean...
Makes no sense. It's not going to work.
No sense. So that's it. That's WrestleMania. This, oh my God, almost 2 hours worth here of us having to go through this card.
In almost 6 hours of WrestleMania.
Oh my God, don't remind me. Che, if you had to give WrestleMania an out of 10 score, we already gave the pre-show one, so not counting the pre-show from the first match, the ladder match up, WrestleMania as the pay-per-view special, what would you assign that out of 10?
4.8.
4.8.
Just because of the finishes. I mean,
wow.
there was a decent amount of spots and a couple of good moments, but the finishes ruined it.
Wow. I'm going to be more generous than that. All right. I'm going to give it a 5.5. The reason why I'm going to give it a 5.5, we had the ridiculous spot off of the Hell in the Cell. We had the very good women's match, and rightfully so, they rebranded to the women's match. That fucking Divas title looking like a Bratz doll logo with the butterfly and shit was very disrespectful, in my opinion. I'm not one that gets all up in arms about stuff like that, but just disrespectful and sort of makes it a toy belt. It looks like a toy, and now they have something that commands more respect like they deserve, because they do work hard and they do have legitimate talented women now. They did before, but now more than ever. You've got people like Sasha Banks, you've got Charlotte, you've got Becky Lynch. These are legitimate additions to that division, so you finally get that. The ladder match was pretty good, some good spots there, but there's some big flaws. The Reigns Triple H match, I believe, was the worst on the card. I think that it was the worst match I can think of this year. I think that, the Ambrose and Lesnar match was a huge mistake in terms of how they played that out. The swerves, to have, Zack Ryder win the title, just unnecessary, and it just comes off as kind of petty. Like, well, here you go. Here's something for you, because we're gonna fuck you later. So here you go. Now you can shut up. This WrestleMania was put together almost like it's because they had to, and you remove the Shane Undertaker match, which was last minute and above and beyond, and them really pulling out the big guns, put the streak on the line, put the company on the line and shit like that with Shane. You remove that, and what do you have?
Not much to say, and they had a botched opportunity to. Yes, I mean, I don't have a problem with Reigns winning the title, but they had the perfect opportunity to turn him heel, let him keep the title so they can make him a star, and set up a future feud that will make money, that will impress people, and get people talking with Rollins. And they were just stubborn. They wanted him to be face so bad. I mean, it's not like people are complaining that he shouldn't have had the title. I'm sure some people are, but a lot of people wanted him to go heel with the title so he can feud with Rollins later, since he's going to come back and people want to cheer him. Makes no sense. They just did it because they were stubborn.
Disappointing. This is WrestleMania, and it felt like an overblown Raw at times. Some of the matches were Raw quality. I feel like that Triple H Roman Reigns match, we've already seen it on Raw.
And at some points it was terrible, excruciating. At some points it was dreadful with the timing and the pacing.
It was a chore. I think that we got through that because we were just shooting the shit, joking around and shit. I feel like if I was watching this by myself, silent, and just sitting here only interacting with that show, I don't think I would have made it. I think I would have passed out. It's impossible. Wrestling at this point has to be watched with other people so that you can keep your sanity and stay awake. It's just, it's unfortunate that this is where we're at, but this is where we're at. And so yeah, Che gives it, you said 4.7?
4.8.
4.8. I'm giving it the 5.5. It's terrible, and I don't, obviously on this show, we are not afraid or hesitant to sort of shit on something, but I don't feel like this is exactly shitting on it. I feel like we're just trying to give our honest take as former fans, and I can say former fan. I can't. I try my best. And I can't consider myself a fan of this as much as I can consider myself at this point just a casual, almost unwilling observer. So, and that reflects my choices to watch or not watch. And I don't think I'll be tuning into the next Raw, and I don't think I'll be tuning into much else. Maybe if there's a program that catches my eye with an upcoming network special, I might check that out. I'm a customer of the network, but it's unfortunate. So that's WrestleMania. Real quickly, we'll just sort of go through Raw real quickly. Like I said, not blow by blow, but we'll just sort of discuss the bigger things, because this is sort of where everything was supposed to go. We kick off Raw, and JBL, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton are there informing us that this is the Raw after WrestleMania, and usually features some of the most passionate and vocal fans in the WWE universe, and just continue to give people these disclaimers about why their new champion is about to get booed out of the building. And this was a recurring theme throughout the show of oh, you crazy fans, and sort of doing that shit. But I mean, those fans, they're smart fans. They know what they want. They're not just there to be disruptive. They're there to voice themselves. And
that's a problem. That's a problem with the WWE. They sometimes they look at it as the same. They think that you have to like it or you're just disruptive. That's it.
Yep. So we start out, Mr. McMahon comes out the ramp, right? Comes out and says that It's funny because the crowd was singing Mr. McMahon's song, and then he says that, yeah, you're right, my son had no chance in hell last night. Talks about how he took care of that lockbox situation, which is the first time we heard about that since Shane came back and set up this program. Says that there's no doubt that he's in control, and he enjoyed watching him kick the shit out of his son, and that he sort of felt like when he climbed the cage that he gained a bit of respect for Shane, but he also realized how stupid he is and how he takes chances. And here comes Shane McMahon. His music hits. He's battered, bruised. He can barely walk. McMahon tells him he has no business being out there, and Shane just says, "I'm here to say thank you to the fans." The fans are just... Man, oh man, what an ovation for Shane McMahon. A well-deserved one, of course, but man, you don't hear him like that very often.
No.
They went nuts. Went nuts for him, and it was clearly emotional. I believe that this was going to be the last time we were going to see him. Tears in his eyes, getting choked up, can barely talk. This was emotional. This was definitely an emotional goodbye, but... Vince says that you're not going to upstage me, and you know what? Fuck it. You're in charge of Raw for tonight. What?
Makes no sense.
Okay, so it essentially made it like an audition. Like, well, let's see if you fuck up tonight, and then maybe we'll see. Ridiculous. So he's in charge for the night, and we have a tag team title match. The New Day versus the League of Nations again. Didn't we just fucking see that?
They always do that. They repeat everything.
Do it again. Still tag team champions, the New Day. Don't give a fuck. Sheamus grabs the mic and says there's something wrong with the league. He says they're only as strong as their weakest link. Rusev and Alberto Del Rio grab King Barrett. They beat the dog shit out of him. And, yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
The lights go. The Wyatt family are in the ring. They destroy the League of Nations. Bray hits the Sister Abigail on Sheamus. Whatever. Backstage, Mr. McMahon is leaving. Renee Young gets an interview with them and asks him if he's leaving because he's confident that Shane's going to do a good job. McMahon just says he's leaving because he doesn't want to watch the ship go down and that this is only temporary. We move on. Summer Rae is in the ring and says her team would have won last night if she was in charge. She says that she didn't end up flat on her face like Sasha Banks did. Sasha comes out, says she's the boss, slaps her so hard that the crowd fucking loved it, and then they have a match. Sasha Banks wins. Meh.
Yeah.
Then we have another call-up from NXT, Apollo Crews. Che, are you familiar with this young man?
Apollo Crews.
Yep.
No, I don't think I've heard of him.
Looks a little bit like a smaller Bobby Lashley kind of build. Bald-headed, wears the trunks.
Is he built like
Bobby Lashley?
He's
built like Bobby Lashley. A shorter Bobby Lashley.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Has his match with Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze, that guy who got called up and got buried to fuck.
Selfie stick.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to take several selfies of himself getting pinned, counting the lights. Crews picks up Breeze and gets him with the spin-out powerbomb for the win. No problem. Apollo Crews is now called up to the main roster and gets his first win. Drops out another NXT guy. Roman comes to the ring by deafening boos, and Michael Cole and JBL are trying to explain away the reason why. They're saying that, the crowd is passionate. Yeah, it's not that they don't like them, it's that, they're just so passionate, and, sometimes they boo the people that they're supposed to cheer, and sometimes they cheer the people that they usually boo. Why not just say that people don't like him?
Exactly.
It's so fucking... I have a theory. Let me lay this on you, all right? This is pretty heavy, all right? I think, at this point, call me crazy, does Roman Reigns generate more heat by them constantly trying to push him as a face?
Yes.
I'm not here to tell you that they've meant to do this all along, but I'm here to say that while relentlessly trying to push him as a face... They realize along the way that maybe the best way to build heat for this guy is to constantly tell folks that we want him to be the face and that our will is for you to like him.
Now, is this for like a future heel turn?
I mean, eventually. But I just feel like let's say that they turn him heel, who knows that the fans aren't then going to start cheering him? Because the fans are there to shit on whatever the plans are. Whatever is the idea moving forward, they're there to shit on it.
Mm-hmm.
They did that with Daniel Bryan and shit like that. It's almost as if they're kind of going the Daniel Bryan route, but sort of the opposite, because Daniel Bryan was the small and downtrodden, so he never gets the chance. This is the opposite. Roman is the golden boy. He gets every chance, and people hate his guts for it.
You might have something with that.
Because it just seems like it goes beyond just being stubborn at this point. It's blatantly not listening to the crowd. And I almost think that they're doing this on purpose, trying to explain why that gets people on the internet and watching at home to be like, what? They're booing him because they're passionate. Fuck you. No. We're going to boo him extra now because now you're trying to fucking lie to people. Now you're trying to pull the wool over our eyes and say that it's not that we're voicing our fucking concerns. It's that we're just crazy people and we're in the moment. No, fuck you. Now we're going to boo him extra and we're going to make sure that you know we're booing him.
You might have something with that, but
crazy, huh?
When are they going to do this heel turn?
Well, this was the opportunity.
Yeah.
But I feel like they have the ability to generate nuclear heat on this guy, putting him up against Rollins. I think that's going to be the one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the one where they no longer have a choice. But I don't know. I kind of feel like this is on purpose at this point. This proved it. Because if they were going to pull the trigger, I think this was the chance. And it just kind of feels like, you know, they want to keep him in this position to where people are fucking mad at him because they're being told that they should like him. Yeah, instead of just going with it, they're going against it.
So they have another chance with this. They could keep building up this heat until Rollins comes back and maybe try like a SummerSlam or something. But they can't keep waiting on this. I don't think that they should wait till next year to do this. It should definitely be at probably SummerSlam would be their next shot before it just gets overplayed.
Right. I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. You know, looking at this program for WrestleMania, looking at this Raw, how they went out of their way to explain why Reigns was getting booed and not being because he's just genuinely disliked. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I just feel like maybe at this point, not that this was the plan all along, but at this point, at some point during this program, they realized that maybe by telling the fans that they should like him, that they'll dislike him even more and make him even more of a heel when it finally happens.
We'll see. Hopefully, they have something, and they're just not being stubborn and trying to keep him face forever.
So, Reigns comes out, and he tells the crowd that he isn't a bad guy, but he isn't a good guy either. He's the guy. That's why at the biggest WrestleMania of all time, he beat Triple H's ass. And he says, if anyone wants this belt, then come on down. Here comes Chris Jericho. As Chris Jericho tells the fans to shut up and gets wildly cheered for this. Calls the crowds idiots and that they need to shut up. And they are cheering the shit out of him. We also get AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn all out there. They want that fucking belt. Immediately, as I alluded to before with the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens just go straight for each other when the brawl breaks out. Crowd pops his shit for that. Chris Jericho and AJ Styles go at it themselves, and Roman Reigns just kind of dips out. Backstage, Roman Reigns making a smug little walk, runs into Shane. Shane tells him that the main event tonight will be those four gentlemen, and they will be vying for the number one contender. Baron Corbin gets out there, grabs the mic, cuts a boring fucking promo. Says that he doesn't care if you don't know who he is. This fucking trophy is who I am, and this is the end of days for anyone who gets in my way, and whatever. Kind of dumb. I don't care.
He needs more work.
Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. They have a match out of this, and poor Ziggler, huh? This ends up being a no contest as they're both counted out. Corbin sort of like tells the referee, "Oh, this is on you, man. This is on you," and takes his frustrations out on Dolph Ziggler instead of going to fuck up the ref. Which, if you're trying to build a heel, right, have him go beat up the ref.
I agree with that. Just do something or start spazzing out, running in the back or something.
Continues to beat the shit out of Ziggler, helpless, and just terrible. Ryder's backstage. He talks about the time he took. He's out there. Talks about the time he met with Razor Ramon, and then he held his title, and then Razor Ramon held his title when he won it. And the Miz comes out, asks him for a title shot, and lo and behold, as we spoiled earlier, this title changes hands in 24 fucking hours. Miz beats him for the title.
24 hours.
24 hours. There you go, folks. There you go, kids. Your fan favorite.
They wasted a possible Kevin Owens as Sami Zayn title run or whatever for this. They really love shitting on people.
The Miz gets in Ryder's dad's face in the crowd. He pushes the Miz down. What's her name? Marcy? Marcy? I don't know what the fuck her name. Mrs. Wife comes over the barricade. You have like this female security guard just standing there watching this all happen. Just some like people in the crowd fist fighting. Yeah, you know, they should try to do that with regular people and see what happens. Yeah, yep. People fist fighting. She slaps Ryder's dad. Ryder's distracted long enough for Miz to hit the fucking skull crushing finale for the finish. Man, WWE loves the distractions.
Yep.
Fucking hell. Backstage, Renee Young is with Kevin Owens. He says they took 6 other guys in ladders. How the fuck is that fair? And that last night Sami Zayn robbed him of his title, so he's on to bigger and better things. And beats the shit out of Sami Zayn for a little while, securing the fact that we are with an injured Sami Zayn. He's going to kind of be out of commission for a little while. Lita in the ring. She debuts the women's title. All the women are in the ring. Charlotte comes out. She's basically being a catty bitch. All the divas decide to turn their backs and walk out. Charlotte says a bunch of stuff. Natty goes in there, challenges her to a match, but Charlotte brushes her off. Natty puts her in the sharpshooter. Ric Flair pulls her out of the hold, and that is that. Renee Young again backstage with AJ Styles. Styles says that it's a new day in the WWE. Tonight starts a new era, and that era is phenomenal. A new promo plays featuring Primo and Epico, the former Los Matadores. They're being repackaged, so I guess that's kind of cool. Usos and Dudleys, huh?
Repeat.
Absolutely. Oh man, great. This match ends when so the Usos go through the tables, but they didn't get put through the tables, and the bell rings because they thought that the match was over. Then the bell rings. Bubba goes off on the fucking officials. Then they just pick him up and throw him through tables anyway. So there was a false finish that they fucked up, and then they're like, fuck it, we'll just put them through a table anyway. So good on them, some good awareness, some thinking on their feet. I don't know. Renee Young again in the back. God, they really fucking go to her. Sami Zayn. Sorry, I mistimed this. This is where Sami Zayn gets fucked up. Gets powerbombed through a table and all that kind of stuff, and so that's how he's done. He's injured. Enzo and Big Cass come out to the ring. They take about 5 minutes running down the Dudleys, and then they sort of they say that they're so ugly and shit, and yeah, that's it. That's all. The Dudleys get up on the apron and then walk away from them. Finally, your main event of the night. I'm glad we got through this so quickly. Because, I mean, this was terrible. I don't really see what Shane's influence at all was. He made one match.
Just nothing.
He made one match. So, again, this is stupid, too, because they made one match. They're giving Reigns a new program. Like, how is that any different than what Vince and Steph and Triple H would have did?
Yeah, they were going to do that anyways.
Yeah, so, whatever. Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, and now that Sami Zayn is injured, who is going to come out? Cue the ambulance. We've got Cesaro, and he's back, and he's got a new gimmick, Che. I'm sure you love it. Comes out with a suit and sunglasses, and it's a tearaway suit and pants, He's got his wrestling gear under that.
Does he still have the same theme?
Yes, he does.
Oh, come on.
Yep.
You think this would be the perfect time to get him a new damn theme?
Repackage the damn guy. So, anyways, your four-way for the number one contender. Cesaro putting in some good shit. He gets the sharpshooter on Styles. He springboards from the outside. Sharpshooter to Styles now. Excuse me. Sharpshooter to Jericho. Styles springboards. Jericho gets him with the code breaker. Kicks out. Jericho picks up Styles. He badmouths him a little bit, kind of gives him a little bit of shit. But Styles goes nuts, lands a furious strikes, goes for a backslide. But he transitions into the Styles Clash and finally gets something with that Styles Clash. Your winner and number one contender, AJ Styles.
It's going to be pretty interesting, even though he's going to lose, but...
He's going to lose.
At least they're giving him something.
This is a fan favorite. Again, see, this sort of leads into what I'm trying to bring about. Don't you think that Roman Reigns would be being put up against heels if they really wanted to? You know, they're going to put him up against fan favorites now. They're going to put him up against AJ Styles, who has the entire internet on his side. You know, the fans love him, and they're going to put him up against Reigns. Reigns is going to get booed to shit, especially when he beats AJ Styles. He's going to get booed to shit. So
SummerSlam is a place to do it. That's our last chance.
I'm not sure how close this is going to happen because they just did this. They didn't say when the match was going to take place, to my memory. So I don't know if it's going to be this coming.
I'm talking about the heel turn with Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah.
SummerSlam. That's their last chance because after that, it's just, even if they're trying to build it up, it's just going to be too, tedious. Just SummerSlam has to be it.
By then, I think Cena will be back. I think Rollins will be back. They're both nursing injuries. Yeah, it's very much possible. But for right now, like I said, AJ Styles is your number one contender. I'm not sure when they're going to do this match. I don't know if it's going to be next Monday. I don't know if it's going to be at the next pay-per-view, but that's where we're at. Che, how are you feeling about this program coming out of WrestleMania? Basically, nothing changed. A bunch of repeat matches, and the only new thing we have now is a program between AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. Oh, and The Miz is champion again. Fuck you, Ryder.
Nothing to get excited for. Nothing.
So I'm gonna probably go on another hiatus here. How about you?
Most likely. Let's see how they build up the next pay-per-view, whatever the hell it is.
So, any last thoughts before we get out of here for tonight?
Now you know why WWE only gets 2 million people a week.
The ratings
now you know what. Yeah,
terrible this week.
Now you know why.
For an after WrestleMania show, this was pretty bad. So. All right, that's it for us. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a special event for us, so we wanted to come back and do it right, give it the shootcast treatment. But as we said, this is probably going to go back into hiatus because if we're not watching the product, we can't really be fair to it and give it a truthful review. But maybe in the future for some bigger events, maybe for SummerSlam or something, maybe this will be a semi-annual kind of deal. If there's something big enough that gets our attention, our genuine attention, maybe we'll do this in the future. But for WrestleMania, had to get it back together and get this out there for you guys. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for your patience. If you remember that we were doing this show, hope you guys enjoyed it. And for myself, Mr. Che here, thank you guys very much. Good night.
Peace.